Hello, I'm Joan Justice from HealthWorks Collective, and I'm here today with Mark Winter, Senior Director, Qualcomm Tricorder XPrize. The Qualcomm Tricorder XPrize is a $10 million global competition developed to incentivize healthcare technology innovation. The goal is to develop a handheld device that would allow a consumer to access the state of their own health anytime and anywhere. The device will be able to capture key health metrics and help patients better communicate with their physician. Mark, you're now in the registration process for the Qualcomm Tricorder XPrize, and tell us a little bit how things are going. How many teams are there currently?
We currently have 287 teams that are pre-registered for the competition from 35 countries, and we actually expect that to grow in the next few months. And they represent a very interesting mixture of both entrepreneurs and startup ventures and inventors of all types, along with some medium-sized companies and even some larger corporate research and development organizations, all who have come together to pursue the vision of this personal consumer medical utility.
Great. Yeah, I saw on your website 250, so it's grown since then. Now, your registration process, when it's over, how many teams do you actually think will go into the next phase?
One key feature of all of these competitions that the XPrize Foundation puts on, and we help to facilitate this, is some recombination occurs before registration closes, and even happens after registration closes. And I think that we'll probably winnow down to perhaps over 100 teams, but somewhere maybe between 100 and 130 teams. In many cases, as these groups get to know one another and we stage events and have online systems that let them find one another, we see that they start to join forces in order to increase their odds of winning the competition. And we expect that to happen as well.
Great. And what's been the experience for the teams? I bet there must be a lot of networking and mentoring and maybe the possibility of venture capital. It must be exciting for those teams.
Well, I think so. I think one of the things that we're really trying to do is to bring an entire ecosystem around these teams that will help them succeed. It's important to note that the ultimate end goal of this competition is not simply to award a $10 million prize. It's actually a first, second, and third position, but rather to help all teams that actually compete achieve a level of commercial success and go somewhere with what they've developed. So to that degree, we're working closely with the FDA, and you actually can see some of the FDA's videos on our website, but collaborating with them to understand more about how these sorts of multifunction consumer devices can get through FDA clearance going into the future. We're talking to large health insurers and CMS to really understand how the insurers might relate to this technology. This is sort of the external market forces, and equally how doctors and nurses in large healthcare systems would perceive and use this device, because in many respects it's as important for them as it is the consumer. And on the team side, what we're really trying to do is to bring together pools of interested people. You mentioned investors. It was exciting to see Mike Lazaridis, who was one of the founders of Research in Motion, announce a $100 million fund to fund a medical tricorder. And I have personally met with dozens of venture capitalists in the life sciences space who are absolutely fascinated with the prospect of this type of device and are interested in finding a place to put money. So we're looking at building an environment that has investors, but it also has technical resources. We have many different companies which are listed in our online marketplace system that can provide things like analog to digital conversion techniques and wireless sensor, essentially technologies that allow a wired sensor to become a wireless sensor, and other kinds of resources that could help them facilitate the wireless communications capabilities, meet things like HIPAA, which is a data confidentiality requirement for our competition. Lots of interested parties have circled their wagons around this competition to help these teams succeed. And we're really doing our best to try to moderate all that and bring all that together for the competition.
Yeah, how exciting. Now, how do you envision the device? Just tell us briefly. It's a consumer product, and just tell us briefly what you envision it to be.
Well, you know, one way to think about it, I'll give you sort of the span of control that a team may have, and how they blend this together is entirely up to them. On one hand, You're going to have sensors of various types that can detect our primary core state of 12 plus 3 elective conditions and vital signs that will be communicating in probably many cases wirelessly to the handheld device. So you have a sensor array, which is one block of technology. You have the handheld device itself, which generally we think of as a smartphone, but it could be a custom embedded device that somebody builds. And there have been people working on tricorders who do build custom embedded devices. But likelihood is many people will take advantage of the processing power of smartphones and use them. And of course, they are communicating through the cloud wirelessly to back-end systems, which could be electronic health records, data analytics systems, even expert systems like IBM's Watson, which is being readied for healthcare. So, you know, how you blend and mix the various capabilities of those three major technology areas into a tricorder is really up to the team, but that's generally what the span of the competition will look like. Sensors, a handheld device, and some back-end resources.
And what's the next step? When do you start the, what do you call the qualifying round?
Well, the official registration close ends in September of this year. And then approximately a little less than a year later, there is a significant down select to a qualifying group. All of that information is available, by the way, on the Tricorder website. If you go to XPrize.org and you pull down to this prize, it's got a complete schedule and guidelines and other information for anybody that's interested. But probably one of the most exciting things for me personally is we'll be staging in mid-October the first team summit. We put together a series of summits where we bring these teams together, answer their questions about the judging process. We've got a fantastic blue ribbon group of judges that they're aware of and they'll know about, but they'll have many questions about the judging criteria, how they technically submit their solutions that are all part of this competition, and we'll have a chance to speak to them there. And that is occurring in mid-October, and that's sort of the next sort of sentinel event in the competition.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Mark, for giving us this update. It's really an exciting competition, and I'm sure it's going to produce some excellent products, and it'll really help the teams. I can't wait to hear more. Thanks so much.
Joan, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.